I guess most people don't even know what foods are included in a keto diet because most diets are restrictive to the point that, people think they just make your life miserable. But what are the sort of big misconceptions you've seen with the foods you're able to eat on a ketogenic diet?
Yeah, so because a ketogenic diet, because the definition of a ketogenic diet is any way of eating
Okay.
that lowers insulin levels enough to turn on fat burning and generate ketones in the blood, because it's about insulin, it's really not a food list. So it's not about plants and animals. It's not even about fat or carbohydrate. It's about understanding how to lower your insulin levels, which you can do with a vegan dietary pattern, with a vegetarian dietary pattern, with an omnivore dietary pattern, or even with a carnivore dietary pattern. So whatever your dietary preferences are, you can get the benefits, the brain healing benefits of ketosis. So it's not about the foods you're eating. It's more about understanding what raises and lowers insulin. The things that raise and lower insulin are refined carbohydrates, whole foods carbohydrates, refined proteins like protein powders, whole food sources of protein, and guess what barely touches insulin at all? Fat. Fat is metabolically the quietest and safest macronutrient you can eat because it barely stimulates insulin.
Is ketosis a state? Is it like a binary state? Like now I'm in ketosis and now I'm not?
So yes, but yes. Let me put it this way, that most experts will agree that in order to be, quote, in ketosis, your level of beta hydroxybutyrate on a blood ketone meter, is prick your finger and put a drop of blood on this little test strip, and it will read the amount of a particular ketone in the blood called beta hydroxybutyrate, and it will give you a reading. If that reading is 0.5 millimole or higher, you are in ketosis. So what does that mean? Why is the cutoff 0.5? Because 3 things have to happen for you to get to at least 0.5. One is your glucose levels have to come down. The second thing is your insulin levels have to come down. The third thing is you have to burn off a certain amount of the stored starch in your liver. We have a storage tank for carbohydrate in our liver. It's not very big. It holds less than a day's worth of carbohydrate because really as animals, we're designed to store energy as fat. Carbohydrates there for quick energy emergencies, short term. The fat, for better or for worse, we have almost an unlimited capability to store fat. We can store months and months and months worth of fat. And so, but we can only store a very small amount of carbohydrate. So if your storage tank in the liver is full, your body will not switch to fat burning because it says, oh, we've got plenty of starch to burn. Let's start there. Once it comes down to a certain point, the body goes, oh, we're running out of energy. Let's go to fat now. And that's when the liver will start breaking fat down, whether it's fat on your body or fat from your plate, and start chopping it up into these ketones. And so those 3 things have to happen. And once that happens, you'll see the ketone levels rise on the meter. So most people who are not eating a ketogenic diet are walking around with ketone levels either undetectable or they're 0.2 or they're 0.3. They might float up into above 0.5 every once in a while if they're not eating for a long time or if they've just exercised. But for the most part, most people eating a typical diet are not in ketosis. And when you get above 0.5, a lot of metabolic magic starts to happen because there are lots of pathways in the body and brain that are not very active unless you're in ketosis. And those are the healing pathways, the recycling and maintenance and cleanup pathways, the recovery pathways. All of us, this is something that I came to appreciate a number of years ago as I've been studying this, is that there are many people, unfortunately or fortunately, there are many people who discover with mental health issues that they need to be in ketosis long-term in order to be well. But I've become convinced by the science that all of us need to be in ketosis, at least intermittently. All of us need to spend some time in ketosis on a regular basis, or else we can't heal.